Biden also distinguished himself during his speeches yesterday and the meeting with President Zelensky, and the press conference with another embarrassment. In particular, during the introduction of the Ukrainian president, President Biden confused his last name and called him Putin. And this is not a joke. We're going to see this snippet in a moment. And during his final speech, Biden actually called Vice President Kamala Harris, calling Vice President Trump. To be honest, these latest flaws in Biden's speeches do not add confidence to his supporters that their candidate, the incumbent president, is ready to compete with Trump in the election. And there are more and more voices for Biden to withdraw his candidacy. This is the moment when Biden called Zelensky Putin during the presentation. Now, without dubbing, we can see and feel all the cringe of the atmosphere that reigned in the hall at that moment.
And now I want to hand it over to the President of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President, I'm better. You are a hell of a lot better.
Biden, who got out of the situation, says, "I'm so focused on Putin that, you see, it gets ridiculous. After all, it doesn't happen to anyone. It would seem, well, everyone makes mistakes. I also made a lot of blunders on the air, but I'm not President Biden, and I'm not speaking at the NATO summit, and I'm not holding such meetings at the highest level." In this case, Biden, on the threshold of his new election campaign, seems to be hurting himself more and more with such speeches. And at the moment when he should have taken advantage of the situation and convinced everyone around him that he has no problems with public speaking, with his mental, psychological, physical state, it turns out just the opposite. In particular, at this press conference, at his speech, which lasted almost an hour with journalists from all over the world, the President of the United States said that he was not ready to talk to Putin, to communicate with Putin on any topic, in fact, regarding Ukraine, about Russia's interests now. Biden's answer to this question, whether he is ready to talk with Putin about the end of the war, the end of Russian aggression, was as follows. "I don't see any reason to talk to Putin right now. There's not much he's willing to do in terms of changing his behavior. But there is no world leader with whom I am not ready to interact." Is Putin ready to talk? That's the question. I'm not ready to talk to Putin until he changes his behavior. Biden went on to talk about how unsuccessful Russia is in its war against Ukraine, how much Putin has failed in this war, how many losses there are in Russia, and also internal losses associated with the departure of the young Russian population, the most educated, the most active in connection with the war from the country, as well as the loss of 350,000 soldiers killed and wounded on the battlefield. Biden also mentioned them. According to the US President, Russia is unlikely to fundamentally change in the near future. Such a vision is completely unrealistic and, accordingly, there is nothing to talk about with Putin in this sense.